explain to the people, the SEC and the Big Ten, just explain to them they want automatic buys. Explain to them
we didn't have the 12-team playoff for about 8 hours before they're already figuring out the 14-team playoff for the 2026 and beyond season, I believe it is, Barrett. So the SEC and the Big Ten, they want 3 automatic qualifiers apiece, but then they also want their conference champions to have the first-round bye in a 14-team playoff. Again, keep in mind we haven't even played one season of the 12-team playoff. Can you explain it to us, please?
Yeah, the way to explain it is that college football decision makers hate you. They absolutely hate you, because here's the thing. In all of this discussion, they talk about access, they talk about revenue, and they talk about governance. There are some words that are omitted that should be included. I don't know, like champion, like excellence, like settling it on the field. All of these people that said, you know what, this is great, they're going to settle it on the field. No, they don't care. And I said this in my show, College Football Smothered and Covered, yesterday. It could be Pip farting on a snare drum out there for an Airheads reference. Good movie. They don't care what that is. All they see is green, which is a shame, because the original intent of the +2 system, which is what they talked about before, or the 4-team playoff, the 12-team playoff, they told us that it was all about finding a champion, and they don't care. And the format of this tells you all you need to know, with 3 SEC and Big Ten automatic bids, 2 Big 12 and ACC, and 1 group of 5. This is all about access. And when they see that word, when they see access, they see money. And I'm really, really disappointed in Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti, because last month when they announced this alliance, that, you know, they're going to look toward the future of college football, I was like, cool. Like, I know those guys. I know Greg Sankey very well. I honestly thought that he was going to lead the charge in making a more uniformed and a more harmonious sport. And now he's destroying it along with Tony Petitti, because still he's looking out for his own conference. Now, that's his job. I get that. But I thought that Greg Sankey had a bigger vision, and it turns out he doesn't. Tony Petitti doesn't. It sucks for college football, and in no way, shape, or form do they even care about the actual national championship. There is, and they're telling you. That's the thing, is like, they're not even hiding it. Like, they're flat out telling you they don't care.
Well, Barrett, number one, let's start with the proposed idea. I don't think there should be. You should not automatically, because of the conference you're in, receive a bye. I get that there's a Power 4 conference now. Whoever wins that conference, we don't know what team that's going to be. But my problem is with the buys. That's like saying, all right, well, before we start the NCAA tournament in March Madness, whoever wins the ACC is automatically a 1 seed. Yeah. Now, it's a lot of times, the craziest part about this is most likely it's going to work out like that. You don't even have to have that rule to see if whoever, you know, wins the SEC or blase, they're going to be one of those top 4 teams. Most likely, the way we have it right now with the 12, that 5th automatic seed is going to be a group of 5 conference, right? The odds of that being the Big Ten are very, very low. So I don't think you have to bake this in. I think it'll work itself out. When it comes to the 14 team, here's where they're going to run into a problem, Barrett, because it's all about optics and perceptions and verbiage. The more they expand this playoff, and to me, this is the most dangerous thing that's happening in college football, because the on-the-field product is better than it's ever been. I think they're banking on that. They're looking at the amount of money and the revenue that they're making. That's only going up, so they're going to try and get as much juice out of the squeeze as possible. But where they're going to run into a problem is all I've heard y'all talk about is player safety, player safety, player safety. That's what it's about. CTE, guys, we're practicing too much, we're tackling too much in practice. But here, let's add more games where you actually physically do the act of hitting each other the hardest. Let's add more games to the postseason, which means what? You can't add more games to the regular season because that goes against the narrative of player safety. Where I'm afraid, Barrett, is they're going to start eating into the regular season. Either saying, and I don't think they're going to cut out conference championship games because they make too much damn money. So they're going to start cutting down regular season games. That's the problem I have, because I think the college football regular season is the best regular season in sports, even though after what they did to Florida State last year. That's a story for another day. That's what scares me. But with Greg Sankey, and it's my final point, Barrett, with Greg Sankey, I'm sick of us acting like Greg Sankey really isn't running this. Like, I'm sick of us acting like like there's some guy. Tony Petitti is not making any decision. He's an 11-year-old. They're walking around Kroger showing him where the grocery store aisles are right now. That's the same reason he suspended Harbaugh without a notice of allegation. But at the end of the day, I know Greg Sankey is behind the decision-making this, and part of me thinks maybe deep down, he wants to get it to a point where they're like, you know what? We have to name a commissioner, and that commissioner is Greg Sankey. And then Greg Sankey comes in and saves it, right? So it's the arsonist becoming the firefighter? We need to stop acting like Greg Sankey isn't pulling some strings behind the scenes. The SEC is the big dog. The Big Ten's right behind them, but they got a boy king right now. So to me, it is Greg Sankey. We just need to go and make the dude the commissioner. Just give it to him, and let's fix it.
I could see that. I do think that he still has to sort of put on this guise of actually caring about the sport, even though he doesn't. And that's the problem, is I think right now he's making it clear that he doesn't really care about the sport overall. He only cares about the SEC and by extension, the Big Ten, because of that stupid alliance, which is a dirty word in college athletics. And so with the automatic bids, I've said that for years. Automatic bids are terrible for the sport. And I know folks will say, well, it works in every other sport. And I'd say, no, it doesn't work in every other sport. I think the college football world, they do it right because they judge the definition of excellence and what earns a national championship changes based on the regular season, based on how the regular season ebbs and flows. And then on Selection Sunday, the regular season basically puts a silver platter in front of the committee and says, hey, you guys figure it out. And look, I don't like that it's a committee. I'd rather go back to the BCS, because you mentioned cutting into the regular season, Jake. There are two terms that we didn't hear about in the BCS era: meaningful and meaningless, because everything was meaningful. In the regular season, it mattered. The bowl season mattered. The Heisman Trophy race mattered. Upsets mattered way more, even if they had nothing to do with the college football playoff race. And I fell in love with college football for a lot more than the national championship and who wins the BCS championship and who wins the Bowl Alliance championship. I like the pageantry. I like the fact that the 25th ranked team in the country could get upset by a 3-6 team and celebrate. I love watching that stuff. Unfortunately, they're trying to NFL CFB, and it's not what it's supposed to be. Yeah, it gets casual fans. Yeah, it gets money, which tells me they're not looking out for the sport, and that absolutely sucks, and I absolutely hate that. But yeah, to your point about automatic bids, not all conferences are created equal, and that goes back to judging the season based on the season and whatever it delivers to the College Football Playoff Committee. If you're going to tell me that even in a 4-team playoff or a 16 playoff or an 18 playoff or whatever, that a team that upsets a top-ranked team in the SEC championship game or the Big Ten championship game or whatever has the same ability and the same chance to win a national championship as an undefeated Power 5 show, that's insane. That is negating the entire regular season. And you're right. If they're going to have this big of a playoff, they are going to chew in and gobble up some of the regular season. And again, that's why I love the sport. That's why I feel like it's the greatest sport on earth. And unfortunately, they're trying to make it more like the NFL, and they're trying to make it more like the playoff and the postseason. And there's much, much more to the sport than just those things that casual fans seem to think are the greatest things in sliced bread.
Well, my question is, why can't we have both? Right? Why? To me,
because they care about money.
Well, I agree with that. But when I look at the playoff, I do think it does make the regular season more meaningful down the stretch. I think now that game between a 9-2 team, right, that is trying to backdoor their way into a 10 seed or an 11 seed or a 12 seed. Now that game against 4-8 or 4-7 Vanderbilt means a whole hell of a lot more than it did when we only had 4 teams going in the playoff. But I don't want to rob Peter to pay Paul. I don't want to eat into the regular season the amount of games that we're playing, which means we're going to lose even more rivalry games than what we've already lost. And I know they're not going to add more games to the regular season. So my question is, why can't we just have both? can we just, because I know the number's going to grow, David. It's not going to stay at 12. They're
Look,
already talking about 14.
An expanded playoff's going to be a lot of fun. All of us are going to love it, right? I think most college football fans would be in favor of losing some of the regular season games that are against the FCS or the Group of 5 teams. Like, I don't need to see Alabama play Chattanooga. I just don't need to see that. I'd rather see an expanded playoff.
Well, I think we're going to get that with conference expansion, right, Barrett? Like, the more teams we add to the conference, now you've got to play more conference games. We're already going to go to a 9-game in-conference schedule in the SEC. So the only way I'd be fine with it if you went to 11, if it was 11 SEC games that you played against that competition. Maybe I could go for that, but I think we're going to start getting to where it's, hey, why are we playing 10 regular season games? That's what I worry about, Barrett.
2 points on that. One, I think when you talk about an 8 versus a 9 seed, potential 8 versus a 9 seed in mid-November, you're fighting for bids and buys. And that makes that game a little more intriguing, but it also means that a 9-3 team or a 10-2 team is going to earn a spot in the playoff, and they didn't earn it throughout the course of the regular season. So I would say that, Jake, your point about that game in and of itself in a vacuum absolutely would be bigger, but because it's bigger, it would take away from the regular season because there's no way in hell a 9-3 Ole Miss team deserves the same chance as an 11-1 Georgia team that loses the SEC championship game. They're not equal. Like they're flat out not equal.
Well, Barrett, we couldn't.
Hold on. And in terms of Alabama playing UT Martin or whatever, I mean, I understand. Again, sort of in a vacuum, that is not very intriguing. It doesn't provide a quality product to television. It doesn't, draw people into a community for hotel revenue or whatever. But on the flip side, those schools need that. Like that paycheck game.
No, that's not good enough for me. And I come from Statesboro, Georgia, Barrett. I come from Georgia Southern, where hey, they love to go get beat by Georgia by three or four touchdowns every year and get that check. That's not a good enough reason to me. I don't want to see Georgia play Georgia Southern. It's not a good enough
reason from a football perspective. But I damn well will tell you without a shadow of a doubt that swimming team loves that. And so it's not about football itself.
I get it.
It's about
and that's a whole conversation that's about to come about, which is like if we go to a collective bargaining agreement with the profit-driving sports, which is football and some basketball teams, the volleyball teams and the golf teams are going to be lost anyway, which is very unfortunate. And we had Tim Brando come on, and I said that was one of my favorite aspects of my collegiate experience. But some of these athletic departments that can't manage a budget and fiscally be responsible, like they're going to suffer the consequences.
Well,
but here's the thing: you're taking opportunities away from Justin Thomas, who's one of the elite golfers in the country, was at Alabama and became. And
I don't want that to happen.
And you're taking opportunities not only to further his career and become a PGA golfer, but just simply earn a degree and become whatever he's going to become in the professional level. Like right now.
Well, he went to Alabama, so that's what I'm saying. So like Alabama playing UT Martin.
Okay, but here's the thing. I could have gone to Young Harris. I could have gone to Furman for baseball. I could have gone to Pepperdine, which I should have done because their baseball field is on the Pacific Ocean. But that's neither here nor there. It's really, I would never have lasted at Pepperdine. I'd be like, ocean, let's go surfing. But here's the thing, like. If you do away with that football, I don't even know if Pepperdine has a football program, but whatever. Let's just assume that it does. I would not have had that opportunity. And by that, if say I wanted to be a lawyer, they have a great law school. I would never have had the opportunity to do that because I wouldn't get a scholarship. So those games are boring on the field, but they are incredibly important to, I would say, millions.
I get it, but USC shouldn't play Pepperdine one year just because some golfer can get a scholarship. That's where you need.
I disagree.
Most of these universities have the trust funds built up. I mean, they have the endowments to be able to take care of stuff like that.
But this is what I was saying with the Dartmouth.
This is what I was saying with the Dartmouth basketball team. You want to unionize and demand compensation? You're not profit driving. So Dartmouth either needs to come out of their endowment to support that, or that basketball team can no longer exist.
Well, my thing is the players wanted this.
Thing is crazy.
The players wanted this. Like y'all wanted this. The players wanted this.
Because they're getting bad advice.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Welcome to the real world. Maybe we need to have more people learn from mistakes. I do want to say one thing too, Barrett. We talk about fairness. After what they did to Florida State with a 14 playoff, I don't want to hear a damn word about fairness or deserving to be in or any of that from any of these higher-ups in the college football world after they did that with Florida State. But it is a fascinating argument, and you can make a logical argument on both sides of said argument. That's why it's going to be fascinating to move it forward. But I will say, once we get into the college football playoff and these games are being played, we're going to be glued to the TV like Augustus glued to a chocolate river.
Yeah, but their administrators hate you.
I mean, they already hate me. They already hate me.
All that they care about is that there are 22 people on that green grass or that green turf. They don't care which 22 people they are. I mean, like I said, again, like referencing Airheads, great movie. Do some homework if you haven't seen it. It could be Adam Sandler, who's known as Pip, farting on a snare drum out there. Just as long as he's out there, that's all that matters.
Well, it's like Colonel Parker said about Elvis Presley. You get that man on that stage, and everything's all right.
I understood that reference.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, Barrett, we're going to go to Barrett. Where do you rank Airheads? Adam Sandler movie.
Okay, so I saw one of these graphics out there. It was on Instagram.
Yeah. Oh, dude, we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah. The fact that it wasn't on there is just, I would say, it's just dreadful. I would say, honestly, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, it might be top 5.
Really?
Wow.
Really? They had Hubie Halloween on there, but didn't have anger management.
Stupid.
Like, are you for real? Big Daddy at plus crazy. 800? God, let me light myself on fire.
Airheads really isn't an Adam Sandler movie. It's just got Adam Sandler in it. So maybe that's the reason it wasn't on there. But I mean, honestly, I watch a ton of comedy movies. I would say that's probably a top 10, top 15 comedy movie.
Yeah, but it's a subpar candy, and I think we can all agree on that.
All right, Christopher Walton wants to know, Barrett, will a 12 seed have similar success against a 5 seed like they do in college basketball?
Well, college basketball and college football, anytime that comparison is made, I kind of shake with rage because they're completely different.
Yeah.
Of course, a 12 seed and a 5 seed would have the ability to compete with each other. I think that's, look, again, the regular season. When a 12 seed plays a 5 seed, that's one of the biggest games of the year or the week. Game day goes there, Fox's show goes there. So yeah, I mean, they'll have the ability to compete, but you'll be talking about a 9-3 team versus a 10-2 team. So I mean, neither of those teams really deserve a national championship.
Let's go to Tristan Tussey. Tristan, what is up? Hashtag Ask Barrett. How much longer are they going to still have bowl games, Barrett? I think they're going to be gone soon.
Forever. Forever. You know why? Because a lot of people like to invest. And if you don't want to place an investment on a Tuesday night game in mid-December, that's fine. There are a lot of people who will.
Yeah.
And they are television shows. And they are very, very highly rated television shows. So they're going to go on forever.
Speaking about highly rated, Barrett, you're one of our very highest rated guests. One of our most highest. Why can I not get this wording right?
You got it. I believe
one of the most highest rated guests that we have. There we go.
There we go.
Barrett Sallee. Hey, first off, congrats, my friend. But tell everybody where they can find your work, and it's always fun getting you on here chopping it up.
I appreciate it. Just started writing for Outkick, so we'll be doing that for going on vacation to Disney World next week. So
let's go.
A little bit spotty for the next couple of weeks, but writing for Outkick, and then the podcast still got that going. College Football Smothered and Covered. You can get it YouTube, Rumble, Apple Podcast, Spotify, all those other places. And a tease. There's a team that's warming up in Florida right now that might be moving up to Truist Park in about a month or so. There might be some news on what I'm doing. With that coming up.
Ooh, I have some, Barrett. I want access really quickly.
Let's go.
Should adults rollerblade by themselves? Yes, no, or call the police?
Call the police. That's creepy.
Oh man, I thought you were going.
But Barrett, let me ask you: would it be worse if there was a bunch of guys rollerblading with each other?
No, I think that's okay. Like that's a workout. If you're doing it solo, that's a little weird.
Okay, I agree. So
I have some outro music for you.
Here we go. Play it as we. Oh, see you, Barrett. You love to see it.
Let's go, Phillies.
Barrett Sallee.
Philly.
All right.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah. Blaine's a Flyers fan. Communist.
I am.
Yeah, communist. All right, Barrett Sallee. Thanks so much for joining us, my friend. Oh, YouTube. Didn't know you were there. Now that you are, hit that subscribe button because this totally wasn't staged, and we both know it.